The film opens with a narration explaining that in the dystopian future, individuals have a lifespan of 25 years. Once they surpass this age, they are given 1 year to earn, spend or trade time, their alternate currency, to sustain life. If they keep on adding more time to that year, they remain 25, but if they fail to add more time, they die. We are finally shown our lead, Will Salas, who has 23 hours worth lifespan that we can see on the clock engraved inside his arm. He lives in the impoverished zone, where it is rare for people to have 24 hours like him. His mother, Rachel Salas, shows up, who appears to be the same age as him due to the halted aging process at 25. Now, Rachel breaks it to Will that her birthday is arriving and that she has only 3 days left. She must find a way to pay off all her debts and bills, or else things will get transferred to Will. Will becomes worried and decides to work in a factory to help her out, but she politely refuses his help and wishes to carry things on her own. She gets ready and tells Will that she has picked up a 2-day shift at work to pay off her loans. Despite having her own problems, Rachel transfers 2 of her hours to Will so he can have breakfast. Will bids her farewell and heads to work. On his way, a little girl, whom he knows by the name Maya, asks him for a minute, even though she has a whole year left. Will gives her 5 of his minutes instead. At work, Will and his colleague Burrell face inflation as food and beverage demand more of their time. When all the workers head inside the factory, they see a man drop dead on the floor because he ran out of time. After working the entire day, Will and the other workers receive their wages. Will gets 1 day's worth of time only, so he protests a little. When it doesn't work out, he leaves in anger. To lighten up, he heads to a bar that is frequented by the majority of his factory employees. There, Burrell brings to his attention a man who keeps buying everyone drinks. It turns out he has a century's worth of time, which makes him super rich among the rest. Will carries out his duty as a good citizen to warn the rich man that it is not safe for a wealthy man like him to be in an area such as this, but the man doesn't listen. Will's warning turns out to be true when some crusty, dusty gangsters corner the man and try to steal his time. Will helps the rich man and kills off one of the gangsters, after which he flees with him. The gang takes it personally and sets out to find both of them. They hide in a building, where the rich man introduces himself as Henry Hamilton. Henry is a fortunate man who is 105 years old and still has 100 more years to live. He confesses that he has grown tired of his lifestyle after a certain amount of time, which is why he tries new places and takes on dangers to feel alive. Now he offers some of his time to Will, seeing that he has only 18 hours on his clock. Will politely refuses and continues getting drunk with Henry. Both of them fall asleep on the couches that night. The next morning, Henry wakes up before Will. Knowing Will is a kind and good man, he transfers all of his time to Will and leaves. When Will wakes up, he panics to see 100 years on his clock. He quickly looks out the window and finds Henry spending his last seconds on the bridge. Will rushes to save him. But Henry finally dies and falls off the bridge. Having no clue of what to do with this much time, Will arrives at Burrell's place, where his wife is taking care of his son. He meets Burrell and tells him about last night. He immediately transfers 10 years to Burrell to extend his life and make things easier for him. The following night, Rachel gets off her long shift. She had used all of her time to pay off her loans and kept 1 hour and 30 minutes to pay for the bus fare and see Will for 30 minutes. However, the bus fare increases from 1 hour to 2, which makes it impossible for Rachel to pay for her ticket. In her final hour, Rachel runs to the next bus stop to see Will, who is already waiting for her with a bouquet. When Will doesn't see Rachel on the bus, he becomes concerned and makes a run for the previous bus stop. He and Rachel meet somewhere in the middle, where Rachel runs out of time and dies in his arms. This tragedy brings Will great pain. On the other hand, Henry's corpse is discovered by the timekeepers from the river. The timekeepers are modern-day police, and Raymond Leon is the lead inspector. They establish that Henry was robbed of his time, so they decide to find the man who has his time. Despite being grief-stricken, Will moves to Greenwich, the land of the rich, and adapts to Henry's lifestyle. One day, he arrives at the hotel's cafe for breakfast, where a mysterious woman keeps eyeing him. Where Will used to struggle for minutes, he now spends 8 weeks on one meal. He tips the waitress 1 week as well. She instantly clocks that he is not from the rich world since he is moving fast to save time. He ignores her remarks and gets some details about the adjacent casino from her. Meanwhile, Raymond and the timekeepers start tracking Will after seeing old footage of Henry running away with him. At the casino, Will gambles his time by playing poker against powerful figures. At the end, Will plays a game where the stakes are as high as 1,000 years. Will miraculously wins the game and officially becomes an elitist. One of the men gets impressed with him and immediately introduces him to his daughter to brighten their futures. His daughter turns out to be the mysterious woman who kept eyeing Will at the cafe. She introduces herself to Will as Sylvia and invites him to a grand party. Will accepts and buys an expensive car to drive to the party. There, he makes more connections with the influential figures and shares a dance with Sylvia by the end of the night. As tension grows between them, they head to the beach and try to do the deed in the water, but Sylvia pulls out. Things get worse for Will when the timekeepers arrive at the party and arrest Will in front of everyone, tarnishing his image instantly. Now, Raymond asks Will how he came across this much time in such a short span. Will spills the truth about Henry, but Raymond refuses to believe him. Hence, he confiscates all of his time, leaving him back to square one. Now, Will has only a 2-hour lifespan. Meanwhile, Sylvia establishes that Will is a criminal and a leech sucking off the elites, so she heads upstairs to kill him. Simultaneously, Will fights the timekeepers and escapes. He finds Sylvia along the way, so he takes her at gunpoint and flees as the timekeepers pursue them. During their escape, Will convinces Sylvia that he is not the bad guy, but his father is, for lending poor people time with interest. Suddenly their vehicle's tire flattens, causing the car to crash and render both of them unconscious. Unfortunately, the thugs, who were after Henry, discover Will and Sylvia before the timekeepers. They steal all of Sylvia's time and disperse. When Sylvia and Will regain consciousness, Sylvia flips out at the loss of her time. Will calms her and heads to Burrell's to take back the time he had gifted him. Unfortunately for him, he learns that Burrell gambled away his 10 years and died. Sylvia is on the verge of death with almost 0 minutes, so she and Will make a run for the nearest pawn shop, where she trades her expensive diamond earrings for 2 days' worth of lifespan. Now, to expose reality, Will takes Sylvia to his old neighborhood, where she gets to see how poor people are struggling and fighting their lives for mere minutes and hours because of the flawed system. She finally gets convinced and decides to team up with Will to throw away the system to truly eradicate the disequilibrium of wealth in society. She eventually falls in love with Will, so when Raymond tries to capture him again, she shoots at him. Despite Raymond giving Will hell, Will transfers some of his minutes to Raymond to prevent immediate death. While Sylvia and Will speed away in a car, Raymond uses his last minutes to regroup with the timekeepers and avoid a large group of thugs. Sylvia and Will rob a rich girl of her time by holding a gun to her head, which officially makes them criminals. They quickly make it in the news as most wanted criminals, in which citizens are advised to report them immediately upon seeing them. Raymond pays Sylvia's father a visit. Due to Sylvia's involvement, her father tries to bribe Raymond into dropping the case, but Raymond declines and insinuates that Sylvia is equally guilty. Now that they have a common goal, Will and Sylvia decide to take direct aim at the system by robbing her father's bank, which is home to enormous amounts of time capsules. After successfully completing the heist, they distribute the stolen time among the impoverished. This upsets the controlled economy and causes chaos as people rush and struggle to obtain more time, sending shockwaves across society. When Sylvia's father finds out about her involvement, he becomes even more enraged. Raymond finds them the following day while they are hiding at a hotel, but they manage to get away by jumping out of a window. Raymond goes after them and pursues them for a long time, but they eventually get rid of him, get on a bus, and move to another hotel. In the meantime, a thug pursuing a 10-year prize follows them to Dayton. He breaks into their hotel, kidnaps them, and challenges Will to a hand wrestling match when the stakes are high. Will instantly wins and absorbs all of his time. He also murders one of his goons. When the gangster's time runs out, he dies, making it possible for Will and Sylvia to flee once more. Will recognizes that the wealthy keep control through exploitative loans as the system retaliates by raising interest rates to exorbitant levels, making it more difficult for the poor to survive. Now that she is fully conscious of the unfairness, Sylvia determines that they need to face her father. They pretend to surrender to him.
Stop!
I want to surrender, but only to my father.
She and Will use this strategy to abduct him and coerce him into disclosing a secret vault that has a time capsule that spans 1,000,000 years. He warns them, but they take it and run. Raymond pursues them again and crashes into their car. At a crucial time like this, Will gives the capsule to Maya, a girl he once helped, and instructs her to give it to the underprivileged. This creates enough chaos for Sylvia and Will to escape once again. When Raymond eventually approaches them, brandishing a revolver, Will discovers that Raymond is originally from Dayton and has been defending the system out of fear of its collapse, since everyone is running out of time. Ray's time has run out, and by the time he realizes it, he dies. Will and Sylvia steal additional time from his car, and soon, Dayton residents start crossing into Greenwich as the system is completely disrupted by the widespread redistribution of time, which causes the timekeepers to quit their jobs. Ultimately, Will and Sylvia are prepared to carry out their goal as they stand outside a different bank. Here, the film ends.
Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more movie recaps like that.